Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you very much for joining this digital Xomnia Connects about our logistics sector view, and of course with the presentation of TIP by Christain. I want to thank you all for joining in today. It's kind of strange to present it in this way to you. Normally, I'm used to chair or be the chairman of the meeting when we are in person with each other. But luckily we can host Xomnia Connects in this way. I am Mark Booster. I'm one of the account managers, and together with my colleagues, we are presenting Xomnia Connects to you today. Can you click to the next slide, Tim? Because then I also are going to present the schedule for today. So let's start with a small introduction of Xomnia. Afterwards, I'm going to give the word to Tim Paauw, our CTO. He is going to present our sector view that we have created for the logistics sector. After those 20 minutes, we're going to have a small Q&A with each other. So if you have any questions, please let us know in the comments on LinkedIn or on one of the other channels you're joining in. After the Q&A, we will start with a video of tip insights, and afterwards I will give the word to Christain Payne. He's the digital and connected service operations leader of TIP, and he's going to tell you something about tip insight. Afterwards, we're going to have a small Q&A again, and I will close up with some final statements. And to introduce Xomnia a little bit, Xomnia is an AI consultancy company. We do a lot of cool things. Our services are mainly consultancy. We create projects for our clients. We have an academy, and we also do traineeships. Today, we are here for our logistics sector view that we have created, and afterwards Christain Payne, I want to thank him very much for giving a presentation about Tip Insights. He's one of our clients, and he's going to tell you a very cool story about what Tip does with data. Thanks again, everybody, for joining in. If you have any questions, feel free to let them know in the comments, and I'm going to give the word right now to Tim Paauw, our CTO, and he's going to present us with the sector view that Xomnia has created about the logistics sector. Thank you very much.
So thanks, Mark, for having me. Of course, you're my colleague, so it makes sense. And thanks all for joining this afternoon. My name is Tim Paauw. I'm the CTO at Xomnia, which means that I'm responsible for the team of consultants that we have within Xomnia, who do all sorts of super cool projects for our clients, many of whom are in the logistics sector. And since recently, we've started to do these sector views for the sectors that we're active in. And the first one that we're publishing is this one on the logistics sector. And what we aim to do here is we aim to better help our clients by further understanding the domains that they're active in, so that we do that by making this scan of the domain and seeing what current challenges and hot topics there are that we could possibly tackle with AI, because that's in the end what Xomnia is known for and specialized in. So I'm presenting here today to you this sector view. It's a short version. The whole sector view is a bit longer, but for the sake of time, and I'm aiming to stay within time today, we have condensed it a bit. But let me take you through it. So the agenda for what I'm going to discuss today is as following. First, I want to share a bit of the emerging relevant trends in logistics that we've seen recently. Then I want to go a bit into AI's position in this. So how would you actually be able to fit artificial intelligence into these trends? So how would you be able to solve specific challenges in the logistics sector? Then we have come up with some logistic challenges, like both for transportation hubs and in transportation itself. It can be solved probably with AI, or at least partly with AI. And then I want to go into two example cases that we've recently done for clients of ours. It must be said that this sector view is the result of some research by colleagues of mine and myself that we've done recently, and we've also been talking to clients of ours active in this sector. And that is and the results of that are in this sector view. We will also, by the way, share this sector view at the end of the talk today, so that you can read through the whole thing yourself and maybe find some interesting insights there to use in your own day-to-day practice. So for this specific talk, of course, the logistics sector is a whole broad domain. There's many different players in the logistics sector. There's so many different steps and parties, both internationally and domestic. And for this presentation, we're focusing on distribution centers and transportation hubs and like the intercompany transport that is in between. So mainly on domestic challenges and not so much on the others. So we've been investigating what kind of trends are interesting technically, like data-wise, because that's of course the hat that we use, or the perspective that we have on the sector. Of course, we know that there's a lot of other different hot topics in the sector, like safety or sustainability or supply chain visibility, you name it. But four trends are of particular interest to us in this sector, and we want to share that with you today. The first is, of course, warehouse automation, which is something that has been going on for a long time, maybe since warehouses were, not since warehouses were invented, but for a long time already. But I think that now with robotics and AI and further data analytics and such, you can see that warehouse automation is really going to a next level and really taking it to an extreme. I think there's, if you have a look at the most state-of-the-art warehouses, there's so much technology in there and so few humans, so to say. It's crazy to see how fast that developments are going. Then another interesting topic for us is the migration to the cloud. We see that many of our clients and other players in the industry have long been keeping their data and compute and those kind of things on-premise in their own environment, but now are making more, increasing use of cloud capabilities. Not only because it helps them to have a more scalable compute, for example, or to keep things centralized, but also to enable interconnectivity within the supply chain. So an important topic also that is not mentioned here, for example, is interconnectivity between specific parties in the supply chain, which is also helped, of course, if you have your stuff in the cloud. So that's what we have been working on a lot recently, and we think that a lot more of that will be happening in the upcoming future. Then, of course, we see a lot of stuff happening in data analytics. That's also why we are here, why we are existent, of course, as a company. I think in the logistics sector and in the supply chain as a broader domain has always been one of the domains that has gathered a lot of data. Maybe it's one of the front-running domains, apart from maybe internet businesses, when it comes to gathering and analyzing data and using it for optimization. It has been going on for a very long time, but so far what we've been seeing is that it has been mainly used to check on things, for example, or to share some visibility to clients, for example. But now we're seeing more and more data being used, and we will be seeing more of that in the upcoming years, to do, for example, predictive analytics, to prevent certain errors from happening, or to squeeze out inefficiencies from the supply chain. So we're seeing an increasing use of advanced analytics, not only to monitor things, but actually to start predicting things. And then, of course, I think Christian will also be talking about this after the talk that I'm giving, is, of course, the increasing use of telematics. So everything currently, or all new trucks and every element of the supply chain is fitted with sensors and is sending out data to the cloud, for example, so that you can actually measure almost everything. You can track almost everything. And that opens up a whole new interesting space of opportunities. So probably Christian will share more about that, but not only to track your own assets, for example, in the logistics sector, but also to offer new business models to clients, and maybe even shift your business model from being an asset provider or being a logistics provider to actually being a software provider or a telematics company. So these are four trends that are of particular interest to us in this space. Then we were thinking, what is AI's place in this? So what because of course we are the AI fanboys, so to say. So what is AI's place in the logistics or in the supply chain? And as a quick recap or as a quick refresher, when I refer to AI, I will use it interchangeably with the term machine learning, which is maybe not entirely correct, but for now, I think it fits the purpose. With that, we mean algorithms that learn from data and answers out of historic data, for example, to come up with rules that we can then use to, again, do new predictions or find new answers from new data, for example, as opposed to traditional programming. I've put it between quotes because it's not like it's old-fashioned, that uses data and rules and then come up with answers. Rules are often then created by domain experts, for example. And this is also typically how the logistics sector and the supply chain has been optimized for a long time. I think the operations research domain, where I'm also originally from, has a big foot in the logistics sector and in the supply chain, where you mainly use like algorithms or specific rules or simulation to optimize your processes. Machine learning is kind of fundamentally different, where we use, like I said, data and answers to come up with new models. It's not like the two are interchangeable or something, or that AI will replace traditional programming, but I think we at Xomnia think, and I think personally, that they combined are very powerful. And that combination could look as following. So we're seeing a lot of, OR being used. So as an example, we have in this slide, for example, when you would fix a traveling salesman problem for a routing issue, you would traditionally use specific algorithms for that to find shortest paths or optimal routes. And you would use, for the traveling times, for example, you would use specific variables saying, okay, this route typically takes me 10 minutes, or this route typically takes me 5 minutes, or doing the offloading here typically takes me so much time. And what we see now happening is that people extend these kind of analyses with AI, and having AI-driven models or machine learning models predict these variables so that the whole analysis, or as a whole, performs a lot better and is more accurate with the real-life situation, because the AI models can be trained on real-life data. So essentially, you're using the stuff that you were already using for optimization, but feeding it with input from AI-based models that you've trained on real-life data, and thereby optimizing your whole calculation even further. And I've seen this also in previous projects that we were doing, also in shipyards, for example, and in other logistics hubs, that people could really squeeze out a lot more efficiency in the end by doing these kinds of combined analysis. So AI together with OR methods. You can read more about this in the sector view that we'll send afterwards. So there's a bunch of logistic challenges that we think that specifically can be solved or will further be optimized in the upcoming years. We've put them on the slide here. Let me quickly take a sip of water. So we'll go into more detail in the next couple of slides. But the first one is, for example, product slotting. So how do you arrange products in your warehouse or in your transportation hub, or even in your shop or in your customer-facing outlet? How to optimize that? It can. We think it can perfectly be done with the combination of tools that we just described. So then the second challenge that we want to quickly have a look at is assets breaking down, of course, which is a big problem in all sorts of in all parts of the logistics sector. And we think that predictive maintenance using AI can make a big impact on that. We've seen a lot of talk about this predictive maintenance, but not so much actual deployment of these types of models, actually using this. Then the third challenge that we want to have a quick look at is inventory accuracy. The fourth is empty truck miles, like the shipping air, essentially. So how well are you able to allocate goods to your trucks to maximize the utility of the truck? And then the last challenge is delays and routing, and that is something that we've been working on a lot in the past years. How to optimize the routes of, for example, airplanes or trucks, and how to minimize delays using these kinds of algorithms. And there are some bold numbers there. I assume you've seen them. We have sources for those numbers from the research that we did, and I've also included those at the end of this presentation, so that if you want to have a look at those, then feel free to do so when we send you the presentation, so that you hopefully can see that we haven't grasped these numbers out of thin air. So first, a bit more on the distribution centers and hubs. So the product slotting thing, of course, we all know that slotting in the warehouse and in the customer outlet is important, and it can either lead to, for example, increased sales by putting the right products in the right place at the right time, if you know really well when a specific product will be sold. But also in warehouses, of course, there's all sorts of different slotting methodologies. But recently we've seen more and more AI coming into play here. If you're better able to forecast your need or your customer desires, then you're better able to put stuff in your warehouse to optimize the flow in your warehouse. And that also touches upon the second challenge that we think is perfect for these types of analyses or of AI applications, which is inventory accuracy. So, of course, if you don't have a good grasp of what your inventory is or should be, then you might miss opportunities for actually selling stuff to your customers. But also, you might have a decreased cash flow if you actually have too much stock. Of course, we all want to keep our stock levels as low as possible. And I think the safety margins in stock levels, for example, are typically something that you could decrease if you are better able to predict demand, for example, or predict failure. And by decreasing these safety margins, but still being able to deliver to your customer with the same level, with the same service levels, for example, you literally save or directly save money. Okay, then we have a couple of opportunities for in the transportation sector. The first and obvious one being predictive maintenance. So there's a lot of moving elements in the typical logistics chain or in a supply chain. And if one breaks down, then of course that is bad. But also the delayed effect or the propagated effect of that can have a huge impact on operations. So we see more and more people wanting to move from reactive maintenance to predictive maintenance. And with the telematics stuff that is going on, that should be possible. I've also personally, like I said, heard a lot of talk about this, but not so much action yet on it. But we're hoping to see more and more projects actually making it into production when it comes to the predictive maintenance part. There's again a lot of interesting statements on the benefits that you could get from that. And then, of course, like I said, we have the empty truck miles. This is something that I already had in my studies back in the days when it came to planning trucks and allocating goods to trucks and stacking them in the right way, for example. And again, this is a topic that typically is solved by using specific allocation algorithms from the OR space, but with algorithms that can very well be enhanced by using AI type of inputs to even further optimize operations here. And then the last one, which is something that you might also experience when you're actually driving your personal car and using one of the fancy navigation systems that we all have available currently, is that, of course, delays and route optimization is a space where OR and AI can really go on steroids, and a lot of research is done there. To see what is the impact of specific weather conditions or what is the impact of specific traffic conditions on my delays, and how can I then optimize my routing. Also a topic that is obvious when it comes to a business case, and a topic that already has seen a lot of optimization efforts, but I think we'll see a bit more of that in the upcoming years when it comes to also adding artificial intelligence solutions there. So we wanted to quickly discuss two cases from practice where we've actually seen this stuff implemented. The first one is from a client of ours called HEMA, and I think everybody that is from the Netherlands knows this company, a Dutch retailer that is very well known in the typical Dutch city center, of course, known for their smoked sausage, but also many other convenience products. So they asked us whether we could help them with product slotting in the shops themselves. And they were doing this mainly now based on some high-level KPIs and a lot of gut feeling, which, of course, there's nothing bad about gut feeling, but we investigated whether we could improve on that. So whether we could more accurately predict what kind of products would be in need when, and what the effect would be of slotting them somewhere else, for example. And we saw that we could really create a huge improvement in operations there by using AI for this. So first they were doing this mainly on gut feeling and on high-level KPIs, and now we were gathering a lot of data on the weather and on typical sales trends from the data from HEMA itself. And we could realize a saving of almost 4 million euros with this project, with only 200,000 euro investment. So the business case there is quite clear. And I think this is something that could be done in many other shops and warehouses. It's a typical classic example of optimizing your product slotting with AI. And then another short case that I shortly want to introduce to you guys is the KLM case that we've been doing. So also a case that I'm really enthusiastic about when it comes to combining AR and or OR and AI. So typically, KLM is a powerhouse when it comes to operations research. They have been doing a lot of that to, for example, prevent delays or to reroute planes based on delays, you name it, or to reroute passengers in the terminals based on busyness somewhere. They have a huge department there that focuses on the OR side of things, the operations research side of things. And we were asked to research if we could add some AI elements to that to better predict the potential flight delays, so that information could be then used in the optimization algorithms to come up with better flight schedules. And the great thing about this is that it can run in real time. So this is something that continuously gets updated. And KLM uses this to more cleverly reschedule airplanes to terminals, for example, when delays occur. And what then happens is during the day, a lot of data comes in on the weather conditions and on delays from flights, for example. The AI algorithms predict the potential impact, and that information goes into the operations research algorithms, and they optimize they go into optimization and come up with a new schedule that can be used by KLM to, for example, dock the airplanes. And this overall then, of course, leads to a decreased average flight delay. And we could actually integrate this with operations decisions tooling. So although it's a different ball game, we can then try to integrate it. I think it's a really, really cool example of adding more cleverness with AI to further squeeze out more efficiency in the optimization that they were already doing. So these are just two cases in the whole sector view. There's a bunch of more cases. So I hope that there's stuff that actually speaks to you and to what stuff is relevant in your own day-to-day work. So you can have a look at that later. One last thing that I wanted to comment on is the way of working that we've recently been developing. So Xomnia has been around for about 8 years now, making it one of the longest active AI consultancies in the Netherlands. And we have been doing many, many different projects. And we have learned by doing how a project can best be executed. And we have written a white paper on that recently. So to distill all that knowledge into a white paper. And it is a very valuable read, I think, if you want to get going with these AI types of projects. This is just a short overview that you see here. But it's our goal to also send you this white paper after this talk, so that you can have a look at it and see if that helps you. If you think, okay, I want to get going with this AI analytics, then this will definitely help you think what kind of steps are needed in such a project, and what do I need to take into account, what kind of roles are necessary for for a successful execution. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. I think another interesting, so as a final remark before I will do some Q&A if there's any questions, and otherwise give it to Christian. I think an interesting trend that we see is that there's not only companies in logistics and supply chain that actually are transferring into the more analytical space, but there's also a whole bunch of companies, of course, that are kind of AI native and analytics native. And I've put some of them here. Of course, Uber is more of a transportation company, but if you think about it, the way they do stuff is also relevant for logistics in general. And what makes it maybe even more interesting is that companies like this sometimes find ways to monetize the algorithms, for example, that they have as like a new business model. So, for example, I read lately about Picnic, the supermarket that we are probably familiar with, that they built their own in-house software to optimize their product slotting, for example, and routing and those kind of things. And that they're now thinking, but not necessarily for the near future, but maybe in the far future, to also have that software or those trained algorithms as a secondary business model apart from actually selling groceries. So it might be an interesting way to look at it. Do I actually have data in my organization, or the possibility to use analytics on the data in my organization in such, apart from the logistics provider that I currently am, for example. So I wanted to leave you with that final note. Like I said, we will share with you the full sector review and the way of working Xomnia, the WowX white paper. I just got a notification that it's also on the website of Xomnia, so you can also get it there. But I'll leave it at that. I hope I mentioned some things that are recognizable to you guys. Thanks for the attention for now. If there's any questions, then I'm happy to try and answer them. And otherwise, I also wish you a great time with the presentation by Christian. Thanks.
Yes, thank you very much for presenting, Tim. We currently have one question. There is some small delay, so if you have a question, please let us know. There's a delay about 1 minute, but we can start with the first one. It's from Mustafa, and he states, I know responsible AI is one of your company's concerns. The first question is, how do you manage responsible AI through the customer's projects? And the second one that follows up on that is, how can you take both responsibility and gains of the customers into account?
That's an excellent question. So we actually have a colleague of mine that is the Marike, who is the expert in the responsible AI field. She's not here today, I think, but I'll try to answer this as best as I can. So we've been doing a lot of work on responsible AI recently, also with our webinar series and publishing some stuff on this. We really believe as a company that this is a topic that's also been buzzing, of course, for a while in the AI scene. So we are really working towards embedding this also in the way that we work for clients. It is also partly in the WowX, in like the way of working document that we will also share with you guys, so that we have specific checks already before we actually take on projects. So there's this, well, it's not like we have all sort of standard procedures within Xomnia, but we will, we have an open culture and people are all really focused on doing responsible AI. So before we actually start doing projects, then we together think, okay, should we do this or not, for example? And then as soon as we do start projects, we have all these kinds of checks built into the way that we typically work. And I think many of them are also in the way of working, like I said, to make sure that we do responsible AI, as we also try to practice indeed what we preach, and then I think it also kind of really depends on the type of project and the type of client. Of course, it might be very different in the logistics sector than when we, for example, work for a hospital with sensitive patient data and those kind of things. And how do you take both responsibility and gains of customers into account? So, of course, we do, to be honest, we do work for customers, of course, so we also always aim for a positive business case for a customer before we start the project, and that is really important to us, but not at the cost of ignoring responsible AI or anything. And I think there's also, so there's maybe, as a final remark, there's two things. Of course, there's our responsibility as a company, and we try to teach our clients about responsible AI and take them with us on that journey. And then there's, of course, also the client's own responsibility. But we really always try to work with clients to make the most out of, to have both a positive financial business case, for example, in a project, but also do it in a responsible way. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you very much, Tim. I don't see any other questions in the comments.
Right.
So I think it's time to present to you to our next speaker. First of all, I'm super grateful and also thankful that Christain Payne is going to give a presentation about Tip Insights. Christain Payne is the operation leader for Tip Insights, which is the global product line for Tip's digital and connected solutions. We are first going to look to a short new movie about Tip Insights, and afterwards Christain will take over with his presentation. I would almost say give him a lot of applause, but that's not possible digitally. Here's the movie, and Christain, thank you very much again for presenting.
Transportation industry delivers everything to keep things going. From medical supplies to food, clothes, water, gas, and just about any other product you can think of. If transport stops, we stop. As the owner of an independent transportation business, there are not enough hours in a day, and the freight of my customers cannot wait. So I really want my time invested to pay off. I'm always on the lookout for the unexpected. I have to satisfy my clients every day by keeping deliveries on time and updating them on the go, increasing our uptime and controlling maintenance costs, decreasing our fuel consumption, and reducing my company's carbon footprint. Tip Insight Solutions are here for me to track my fleet and manage my business around the clock.
As a VP of a supply chain of an international logistics company, I rely on the close collaboration between our transportation service providers and my team of dedicated professionals. With scale comes an entire different set of challenges. Logistics dispatchers, fleet engineers, and transport managers need plannable and predictable processes. Whether it is for e-commerce or just-in-time manufacturing, our clients require a higher level of collaboration and sustained performance. On top of it, our customers need data sharing interfaces with their own business management systems. For our logistics dispatchers, TIP Insight delivers integrated solutions that provide life statuses and ETA predictions for every shipment. To keep our fleet running at top efficiency, we need timely and comprehensive information to avoid breakdowns and minimize downtime. For our fleet engineers, TIP integrates its digital solutions, maintenance services, roadside assistance, and provides Brake Plus, its electronic brake performance monitoring system. TIP's commitments support agile service planning, predictive maintenance, and results in increased safety for our drivers. Fleet Radar, TIP's customer portal, converts your data into online dashboards and advanced analytics. As a trusted advisor and solution integrator, TIP makes our business more competitive and sustainable. Less fleet downtime, less empty miles, equals less carbon emissions. TIP is delivering the next generation of connected and digital mobility solutions for a smarter transport industry. TIP is ready for you. Why wait?
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you to Mark and Tim and all at Xomnia for inviting me over today to present TIP Insight. As Mark said, it's the global product line for TIP's digital and connected solutions, and how we are using AI to enable data-driven solutions both in the logistics sector, but also internally within TIP. I'm Christain Payne. I've worked for TIP for 14 years. I've worked in the transport sector for over 24 years. I'm also the co-founder of two telematics platforms, one deployed in Saudi and the other in the UK back in 2010. And that last one being Pay As You Track, which provides a consumption-based model tracking solution from a range of plug-in and hardwired modems, and also includes smartphone applications that would recognize vehicle behavior and act accordingly. And that was aimed at the SME sector. But TIP, we launched TIP Insight in 2020 to deliver the next generation of fleet management to the transport and logistics market. So firstly, without further ado, let me introduce TIP. So TIP is a leading equipment service provider with a proven track record in full service lease, contracted maintenance, and connected solutions. With years of experience, we're experts in providing all those services that a customer will require during the life cycle of its fleet of trailers or trucks or other types of equipment. And that makes us one of the few one-stop shops for all of our customers' fleet management needs. So we are a pan-European provider of those services, and we work independently from equipment manufacturers and banks, and that allows us to find the best possible solution to any transport need. Our locations, as you can see, that's a fairly wide coverage. Every day, our 117 workshops, 268 mobile service units, 1,250 technicians spread over the 18 countries in Europe and North America. They're dedicated to keeping our customers' fleets on the road and their transport costs under control. So our services, just to give you a bit of background in terms of what we do, we've got 5 pillars of products and services. We lease a wide range of equipment with flexible finance options, including long-term lease solutions, innovative sale and leaseback structures, adding value to our customers. And we've got an extensive fleet of trucks, trailers, tankers, and specialized equipment. And we're one of the largest transport equipment leasing companies in Europe and Canada. And for any unexpected need of our carrier and private fleet customers, we also offer flexible rental solutions at obviously competitive rates. So in terms of that, we additionally have obviously an extensive network of workshops. And we not only provide maintenance repair to our own fleet, but also provide contracted maintenance to our customers' own trailers as well. And this includes compliance checks, annual inspections, tire maintenance, replacing worn tires, pressurization checks, servicing and replacing worn parts, and providing servicing to auxiliary units that could be tail lifts or refrigerated units on certain trailers. And additionally, we provide roadside assistance 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every day of the year. And we provide that in multiple languages and damage and repair management, including monitoring, management reporting as well. We also, through our remarketing team, we sell all types of used assets and distribute from multiple source countries. And we've got a broad geographical spread in remarketing activities with international sales in MEA regions and Central Asia as well. And then moving on to the point in hand, TIP Insight. With TIP Insight, we are delivering that next generation of digital mobility solutions for the transport industry. So how do we get there? Just to really look at this quote from John Chambers, who's the exec chairman at Cisco. This was back from 2015 at a Boxworks conference. At least 40% of all businesses will die in the next 10 years if they don't figure out how to change their entire company to accommodate new technologies. And the 5 key topics that he identified here were: leaders need to reinvent themselves and create a digital agenda. Get ahead of the market transitions. If we bury your head in the sand, then we're going to be squashed by new startups and competitors focusing on new ways of doing business. Thirdly, establishing partnerships and establishing partner programs is one of the key strategies to grow your business. And digitization is inevitable in the business. So to get on board now, every business is going to be significantly changed by oncoming technology. If we don't figure out how to adapt the business and implement IoT or cloud technology, we'll face extinction. And just as importantly, invest in new people skills and continuous training. And going forward, your people will have to adapt to a new technology every 2 to 4 years. And just lastly, McKinsey published a report in which they found that 80% of business executives believe that their current business models are at risk, and a further 84% think that innovation is a crucial factor of their growth strategy. Only 6% are satisfied with their innovation performance. So, moving to the transport industry specifically, digitization is seen as an opportunity in 3 key areas, and we're seeing a high rate of adoption to drive growth and customer service, resulting in 11% experiencing a better customer service experience, 16% experiencing increased profits, and 54% in revenue growth. So, TIP proudly introduced TIP Insight, enabling commercial fleets to gain insights into the activity and health of their assets for more transparent, efficient, and safe ecosystem. It's making customers' business more competitive through advanced knowledge that they will deliver improved decision-making capabilities and automated operations. And it's empowering customers to a more sustainable, efficient, and greener business through data analytics. So just to get a feel of the type of trailers we're talking about here, so from curtain siders through to reefers, that's a box van with the insulated sides and a refrigerated engine, chassis that are carrying swap bodies or carrying ISO containers, flatbeds, and then we've got the varieties of different ones. So moving floors, we've obviously got specialized tankers, bulk tippers, and ridges with waste tankers as well. And then just to get an idea of the type of customers we're talking about domestic, we're talking about international, parcel delivery, third-party logistics, manufacturing, a whole broad range of customers from a TIP perspective and also from a digital and connected perspective as well. So TIP Insight, it is our global product line for digital and connected services. Our motto is see more, be more. It embodies TIP's vision of being a trusted advisor to its customers and delivering connected solutions, empowering those sustainable supply chains. And TIP Insight and TIP's mission statements are the same. We passionately develop the most complete, personalized, and connected solution for transport and logistics operators. So how do we do it? So let me just walk you through from the product line from a hardware perspective to get an understanding of what we're actually pulling in data-wise and how we use that data both internally but also for our customers and from an AI perspective as well. So FleetBeat, that's our product line. It's a service based on a modem, which we can see here. It's been specifically designed to capture the maximum number of data points from trailers. They could be curtain siders, box vans, or flatbed chassis. It has track and trace capabilities, so it's using GPS to capture obviously the location, but it's also capturing and sending EBS data sourced from multi-brand EBS systems. For those that don't know, EBS is the electronic braking system on a trailer. That's the brain of a trailer, and that EBS provides power to that modem, but it provides a raft of telemetry data directly into that box, which is then disseminated on the server and utilized in many ways. So that small and discrete black box, it is connected. It takes that CAN data, but it's also equipped with an integrated rechargeable battery. So FleetBeat will continue and will capture and forward data even when it's not powered by the EBS. Effectively, when that trailer is uncoupled from the truck, it is still in full contact. The one we're looking at here on the screen, this is actually our FleetBeat cooler service, if you like. We have obviously a number of different modems, but it also acts as a communication hub, and it sources data again from a whole raft of different manufacturers of EBS. But it also welcomes in refrigerated and logger system data as well, but also other peripherals and other sensors such as we call Door Plus, which is an additional product in our range, which allows the monitoring of the opening and closing of the doors on the trailers, and that's by means of magnetic door sensors. And these are hardwired into the tracking hardware, and they require this tracking device as we can see here in the FleetBeat cooler offering. And this consists of a switch and a magnet, and it can be mounted both on the floor of the ceiling, but also on the actual door. And that magnet on the trailer door allows the monitoring of that door status to help pinpoint the exact loading and unloading of times. It also detects the unneeded and unwanted opening of doors, so relating to theft, and can be configured by fleet connected users to trigger alarms, populate reports, and in combination with geofences, it's a very valuable and powerful tool for all operators. We also have Tyre Plus. Tyre Plus is our TPMS, that's Tyre Pressure Monitoring System product, and this has been specifically designed to reduce fleet running costs and improve fleet safety. And this is also compatible with all of our modem ranges from Fleetbeat and Fleetbeat Cooler. And this system helps maintain the tyre pressure at the recommended level and also to detect slow punches early. And this helps to maximize tyre life and allows tyres to be repaired rather than replaced. And by ensuring the right tyre pressure, the system delivers both fuel savings at up to 2% and significant reduction of CO2 emissions. And it helps maintain that tyre pressure at the recommended level, significantly enhancing that fleet safety. And each wheel is fitted with a sensor by means of a wheel strap and connects wirelessly to the tracking hardware. Again, that has an internal battery with an 8-year lifespan that's fitted on the wheel, the tyre over the top of that. That reduces things like roadside breakdowns, reduces all the things we were looking at in Tim's presentation, and increases that maintaining of of the operation of that trailer. And again, feeds in from an AI perspective as we start to look at, as we move from preventative maintenance and moving into predictive maintenance for trailers. And that's everything from the tires, everything from the brake wear, everything from anything related to the trailer, in fact. So how do we use that? So Fleet Connected, that is our core application, and this manages and displays real-time information for trailers. So it's feature rich, it's available in 15 languages, and it allows operators to visualize the fleet in a number of ways. So we've got a map view, reporting, we've got geofencing, and alarm management and alerting. So from track and trace all the way through to EBS telemetry data, it is the center of all that activity. And it guarantees real-time information from departure to arrival. And the platform can be easily integrated into other software and reporting tools, which we do. Additionally to Fleet Connected, there's other incarnations of it. We have a mobile version, which is entirely web-based, meaning operators can access from smartphones and tablets and things like that. In terms of the data bridge, this is our API environment, if you like. The total data bridge solution is created really with openness in mind. And this openness is provided by these what we call TX Tango web services, which enable connectivity between Fleet Connected and other software packages. And currently we provide about 100 different web services to allow access to different functionalities of the Tip Insight solution. And the TX Tango web service hides the difference between the Tip Insight products and creates a uniform way to receive or retrieve and send data. So it's an ecosystem of about 150 partners that are already connected through these web services, and most of them are TMS, so transport management systems, or even salary solutions, but obviously also track and trace, pallet exchange, and we're only limited by our imagination. And system-wise, we've deployed a multiple tenancy architecture where each of our customers have their own tenancy created, and we make sure that equipped trailers that are on hire to them are visible in their platform. So we use this API internally within TIP, and this is in part thanks to our Azure platform that Xomnia really helped and worked with us on. And this has been deployed to enable integration into this architecture. So where a customer would on hire an equipped trailer with Tip Insight as a connected trailer in the rental platform, that trailer will automatically show in that customer's Fleet Connected tenancy. And upon off hire, that trailer will be removed from that customer's tenancy, but allowing that history to remain in that tenancy for up to 12 months. It's really important that the customer still has the history of that telemetry. And this can happen multiple times in a short space of time. We have customers who on and off hire trailers in a single day. Certainly when we look at chassis at branches and workshops around the ports, for example. So the Azure platform, it allows for integration for onboarding of users and maintaining our asset register. And we also ingest mileage and reefer our data hourly into our data lake, and that's utilized for maintenance and billing purposes. So Brake Plus, it's TIP's advanced EBPMS solution, and this stands for Electronic Brake Performance Monitoring System, and that was launched this year. Let me just bring that up there. There we go. This is primarily for the UK market, and this is where the UK authorities, which is the DVSA, have sanctioned that such a product could replace the need of brake roller testing. And essentially, it enables users to have continuous monitoring of the brake performance of their trailer vehicles. It enables users to avoid having to do up to 3 additional roller brake tests per annum, and that's quite significant. So the arranging, the travel, the downtime, the replacement trailer, the tracked unit, the driver, all of those costs that are related to providing those roller brake tests, that's a cost saving in the region of 300 Great British pounds per trailer per year. Looking at that kind of cost saving. So in terms of that, we look at that by means of algorithms. We can see that there's a modem just in the top right of the screen at the moment. But essentially, we're collecting brake events from the telematics device that's fitted to that trailer chassis. And if we look at the bottom right, we can see here we've got a plotted graph, and effectively what we do is we look at all the brake events that come in, and we reject a number of those brake events. We have a filtering system, and there's some good reason to filter out some of these brake events. For example, when a truck and a trailer first start a journey, there's a calibration as the truck has a contribution to that braking event. So it's very important we understand what that contribution is and effectively filter out so we get true brake performance of that trailer. There are other things such as incline and slopes, again, which would give a skew to the actual algorithm in terms of measuring or monitoring that brake performance at a granular level. So as you can see here, and this is a real example, we're looking at just shy of 7,000 brake events for this particular trailer, and we're showing 27% were actually selected. And how this works is basically we measure at 6.5 bar of pressure. This is pressure on the actual brake, that we should be achieving a 45% deceleration effectively, or 45% of G effectively, and then that's a linear regression as we go back, as we can see in this particular list here. And effectively we look at that and take an error margin, if you like, and a prediction, and calculates that brake performance daily, and it does a brake performance value based on that performance over 90 days, and that score measures that demand pressure from the driver versus the deceleration effectively. So this is a real key element for the UK market that we launched this year. It's compatible with both of our service offerings in terms of Fleetbeat and Fleetbeat Cooler, and no additional hardware is necessary. It's utilizing the EBS data and utilizing the modem. It does some processing of the data on the firmware of the actual modem, but also the majority is then, once it's filtered, done server side. And we're seeing opportunities not just in the UK, but also across Europe, as this provides a level of safety that will be obviously hard for operators to ignore. So, quick drink of water. So, as our global product line for digital and connected solutions, TIP Insight ambitions to bring the next generation of fleet management to our customers. And it includes integrated solutions where we partner with fast-growing and globally leading technology partners to accompany our customers in their digital transformation. And one of those partnerships is with a company called Project 44, who provide supply chain visibility in combination with TIP's Fleet Connected platform and environment. And that allows for fleet capacity optimization and also for transport planning as well. So TIP Insight also includes Fleet Radar. This is our online customer portal, and they both support TIP's promise to the customers to enrich customer experience and fulfill that online digitization. We also obviously have our service desk as well to support our users via that pan-European help desk, but also provide event and incident management. So, for example, where we are being notified through AI of, for example, a slow leakage on a tire from a trailer, we can actually notify the customer and essentially the driver in real time before that tire blows out, or before that becomes an incident, if you like. So this is where we start to actually feed that back into the customer. So I just want to give an example here. So it's our commitment to help our customers with not only real-time visibility, but also the digital transformation, and also the carbon transition by becoming an integrated solutions provider. So what does this mean in practice? So let's just see how our team did this for a VIP customer. As you can see here, we've got a parcel delivery leader with how can I improve uptime? How can I improve on-time delivery and real-time visibility for clients and workers and vendors? And by listening actively, we realize that digitization does not just stop at their own fleet. It also covers their 75 hauliers, 95,000 yearly shipments, and nearly 250,000 employees. A strategic imperative is to continuously improve uptime and on-time delivery and real-time visibility for their customers, workers, and vendors. So why would they turn to TIP for this goal? Well, because of the trust and rapport we have over time. As a trusted advisor and front runner for innovation, we've always been there for them, whether it's about maintenance or telematics or TPMS or even new asset types. So now we're going to the next level by delivering the integrated fleet and logistics solution with Project 44. And we're connecting TIP's Fleet Connected to our customers' entire fleet and Project 44 to achieve visibility on almost all of their shipments. We're looking at 100% fleet visibility, or 100% STR connected, and 80% shipment visibility, and there's 30% carriers that are now connected to this. And of note, it's free of charge for carriers to connect at the customer's request, and it's the same for TIP Fleet Connected. We don't charge to export a carrier's data to a Project 44 customer via API when their telematics is from TIP, and this makes it unique for our DNA and our full service philosophy. Okay, and then just moving to this slide here. So together, Project 44's innovation leadership and TIP's full service culture, it creates additional value for our customers. And in this use case, you can see TIP identified some time-saving opportunities in maintenance planning and execution for this Project 44 customer with a large and widespread network. Scheduling services via phone and emails was time-consuming, and half of the services ended in no-shows or late-stage rescheduling. And as a continuous improvement project, Project 44 and TIP have offered a solution integrating the maintenance plan with the transportation plan within the VOC platform. So as we can see on the right-hand side, a maintenance status can be added to each shipment, alerting operators if the assigned vehicle is due or overdue for maintenance. And thanks to the interface with the customer's TMS, the transport management system, workshop visits can be added to the transport plan as special trips to and from the workshops. It ensures the vehicle is reserved and not assigned to a shipment. And as expected, the customer's benefits are about reductions in no-shows and time saving in scheduled workshop visits. And the workshop-related downtime can also be tracked as a KPI via the dashboards. So fleet managers and logistics dispatchers are no longer separate islands. They share the same screen and information, resulting in increased transparency and teamwork. And that was my last slide. So thank you for your attention, and happy to take any questions.
Christian, thank you very much for presenting. I want to start off with one question that Tim Paauw just sent me, our CTO, and he was really curious who actually owns the data. Or yeah, Tim, you're popping in right now. You can ask.
Oh yeah, I'm in the screen.
Hi, Tim.
Yeah, I was wondering who actually owns all the data that you guys are gathering. I assume TIP owns it, as you also own Correct. The trailers, or okay.
Yeah, so yeah, we own the data, and we obviously contain that data. But then obviously, customers are utilizing that data, or it's driving the data for different functions. But essentially, it's our ownership of data.
Okay. Also, if you ingest it from another telemetrics provider.
At the point we bring that data in, that then we that's then part of the data lake, if you like. Then we own that element of data. At that point, it comes into our servers. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. That must be a very interesting heap of data to sit on. Like a lot of opportunities if you actually own it. That's really cool.
Yeah, no, it is quite a lot, and certainly, Tip Insight is still, quite new. Like I said, we launched it last year, and obviously we're building up our data points, and we're building up our POCs in terms of getting to the point where can we predict before, for example, an airbag blows? Can we actually predict at which service interval we're going to replace the airbag, for example, because we have the data to support that? Are we able to identify the usage of the same trailer between a parcel delivery company and a logistics company? The same trailer on the face of it, both types of companies would be operating the trailer with the same mileage. However, the trailer would be operated very differently. The number of starts and stops, the amount of times a forklift is in and out of the back. So building up these profiles with the sensors, with the telematics data, then will enable TIP to better understand even component and procurement elements. So are we fitting the right floors to certain trailers? Are we fitting the right types of tires and brakes, et cetera, et cetera? So, we're building that up now. And obviously, because of the breadth of our footprint across Europe and also our extensive array of different types of customers, we're in a good position to really understand those different vertical markets.
Oh, that's super interesting. Thanks.
Very good.
Thank you.
I don't see any other questions left, so I think we're going to the closing statements. Christian, thank you very much again for presenting.
Thank you.
We will talk soon, and also normally we are handing over a present, but currently that's quite impossible. So Christian. Very soon you will receive a present for presenting today, and thanks again.
Thank you.
So yeah, let's go to the closing statement. Thanks everybody for joining our first digital Xomnia Connects. Hopefully our next Xomnia Connects will be back in September, and hopefully we can also do that in person again. Otherwise, we're going to do it digitally again. And the topic of the next Xomnia Connects will be the way of working of Xomnia on analytics strategies. So stay tuned for that in September. Right now, I want to thank you again for joining in. I want to thank Christian and Tim also for their presentations, and also a special shout out to all my colleagues for all the help of creating this great event. And a special shout out to you, Fritz. You are watching from backstage, the digital backstage, for all the help with the presenting. I want to wish everybody an amazing evening. Thank you very much for joining in once again. And thank you very much, and thanks for joining in. Bye-bye.